What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly to provide for you guys as we look at the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, discuss what went right and what went wrong, while also discussing the upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls, which is actually a short one technically, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, their previous week, the awards given as well, whether you disagree or agree with the awards that will be given, and the upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls, where, again, it's a short one, but, you know, it's going to be a very important one regardless. In the end, the Chicago Bulls played 3 games this week and we ended up going 2-1. So another week that we take a positive record out of it, which is extremely important for the Chicago Bulls as we are now the closest we have been in a long time to that 500 record that we are all seeking, ladies and gentlemen, to be neutral and hopefully to climb above and actually get a positive record, but one step at a time, I guess you could say. So, in the end, we started that week with the Cleveland Cavaliers game, and we got absolutely humbled in that game. We lost 109-91. A game with no Darius Garland, no Evan Mobley, but the Cleveland Cavaliers have been on an absolute roll in recent games, and I think you saw that with how they played against the Chicago Bulls. Their defense was just absolutely swarming in that game. And although we did have a couple of guys in double figures for that game, I just felt personally that Cleveland dominated in many ways. I'm glad that we kept it close for the most part, but in the end, they ran away with it. And yeah, it was a bit of a difficult game for the Bulls to really get anything to go offensively. Then we moved to the Toronto Raptors game, and we responded very nicely in Canada by beating Toronto 116-110. A much better offensive game, a much better game overall, I would say, from this Bulls team. Now, granted, this was a Toronto Raptors team that just got Bruce Brown, that just traded Pascal Siakam, also has a fair bit of injuries under their name as well. And, you know, guys like Scotty Barnes played incredible basketball. But at the end of the day, we did a very good thing here. Valiant team effort for the most part. There were some really good performances this week and this game. I mean, 3 players with 20 points in the game. That's really a lot. And again, not many people are going to complain about that. And then obviously this recent game against the Memphis Grizzlies, we did win this game. We took care of business. We scored 125 points to the 96 that the Grizzlies scored. Again, we dominated the game. It wasn't the most exciting game I've ever seen. I think we could have seen a lot more excitement and a lot more energy for sure. But again, Memphis had everybody out. So it's a win that must be taken. I'm happy that we won the game. Was it the most exciting game I've ever watched? No. But still, some really good performances from the Chicago Bulls team all the way around. And moving into the award categories, it's actually really hard to give because I kind of view this week as a week that not everyone stood out. Like, there was no one standout player, but it was more everybody contributing in a way, whether it's a small way or a large way. It didn't feel like there was a one key standout guy for the Chicago Bulls that really took control and really took the reins of the team. So it's actually difficult, especially for the player of the game category, because when you're looking at the performances we've seen from some of these guys, I mean, Vooch, in the end, I would cancel out just for the fact that he really didn't contribute in the second half at all. But other than that, of this Grizzlies game. But DeRozan had a solid week. Vooch had a solid week. Kobe had a solid week. Patrick Williams came alive in this game against Memphis as well. He ended up having a solid week for the 2 games that he played. LaVine in the 2 games he played had a solid week. Kobe had a solid week. Ayo had 2 great games off of the bench. It's hard. It's hard. But we're going to give it our very best shot. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. We can take it and move on. But let's quickly talk about the awards category. So, we're going to leave the must improve out of the conversation. Again, the Cavs game was a pretty bad one, but I don't want to specify a must improve based on one game. We had 2 great games. After that, we responded very well. I'm going to leave the must improve out of this one, but you can let me know if you have a specific must improve in mind. Now let's go to the 6th man of the week, and I think this one is going to be Ayo Dosunmu. Again, he was my player of the game for the Memphis Grizzlies game, and I think, again, he had a good game against the Raptors, I believe, as well. Very, very happy with his production off of the bench. I'm liking what he's able to produce in terms of he's starting to make some of these threes. I think that's the thing that I like the most about Ayo right now. I think his layups and his transition game, You know, sometimes he's missing some of those layouts, but at the end of the day, it's still great shots, and I still trust him more times than not to really convert a layup and convert a floater and convert around the rim. That's what he's good at, and we know that. But when he begins to expand and use that three-point shot to his advantage, all of a sudden you start seeing 20-point games from Ayo. Because I really think that's the biggest part of his game that he's missing. Being able to knock down the corner three, because he's open there most of the time. So let's hope he can continue to convert those threes and become a great player that we can rely on for more minutes and, you know, being more independent out there. Let's look at the defensive player of the week, and that is, to me, is going to go to Alex Caruso again. I don't think there are many people that are standing in Alex Caruso's way as being one of the best defenders in the league. You know, I'm not out here saying he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year or anything like that. But, you know, Alex Caruso's a different breed of a defender, especially for a guard. And there's not many that is like him, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to be, I guess, grateful that we have him on the team in many ways. And we don't know what the future holds. We don't know if he's going to end up leaving or not. But whatever the case may be, while he's here, he is our best defender. It's really not that close. And I think you see it levels upon levels. I mean, he's our best chase down block player. Alex Caruso, what is he, a 6'4" guard? 6'5" guard? Something along those lines. He's our best transition blocker. He's our best chase down artist, blocker, whatever you want to call it. It's insane. Not to mention the steals he got, everything. I know he had a bad game against, I don't think he had a bad game at all in any of these, especially defensively, but let's move on. My player of the week is close. I think it's a conversation between DeMar DeRozan and Coby White. Again, I think Zach LaVine had a good game, but he missed one, so I don't really want to put him in this conversation. I would cancel Vooch out for this Memphis game. For me, it's Coby or DeMar. What I liked about DeMar DeRozan is that the game against Memphis, he had 8 assists, so he's playmaking well. Obviously, he had a great game against, I think he was one of the only guys that had a good game against Cleveland. I believe he didn't have a good game against Cleveland. No, it was the Raptors he had a good game. I'm going to pick Coby White because of DeMar DeRozan's bad game against Cleveland. I'm pretty sure he got held to 6 points against Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. So I've got to remember things better, and I apologize for that. But 6 points ain't going to cut it, man. Come on. As a number one option, I'm just playing, by the way, but, you know, as a number one option, I can't give the Player of the Week award to someone that scored 6 points in a game as our number one option, or even as our number two option. It's just not good enough. I'm just going to double check real quick that he only scored 6 points in the game for the Bulls. There you go. He scored 6 points. Nah, I just can't. I can't in good conscience give it to DeMar DeRozan. So it's going to be Coby White again. Fair play to Coby White. Again, he's been fairly consistent. I think he had a bad game today, to be honest, but he picked it up in the second half, and the stats look pretty impressive. So, on to the next week. Hopefully you guys agree. If you disagree with my awards, let me know. But we only actually technically have 2 games this week for the Chicago Bulls, and it's for me. As someone from Australia, we only have 2 games this week. I think the game against Portland is on a Monday for me, which means it's a Sunday night for you. So you may consider that in your Bulls Weekly. But for the sake of keeping things consistent, I'm going to use the Australian version of Bulls Weekly, essentially, and leave that game for the next week. So we only have 2 games to look forward to this week, technically. The first game is going to be against the Phoenix Suns away from home. Phoenix are a team that normally has our number. We've gotten closer and closer to beating them, but I don't think we've really gotten over the edge there. Phoenix is a team that hasn't necessarily played the most amazing basketball, so I'd give us a good chance to win the game. I wouldn't say we're the favorites, but I would put us in the conversation to win. And at the end of the day, if we can get that win, that's probably the hardest challenge we have out west in this West Coast trip. So, I mean, it'd be a pretty impressive win, and that could really kickstart the rest of the games that we have out west. I mean, a confident boosting win would just be a massive for the rest of the West Coast trip. And it's going to be a very important West Coast trip at that. Not the only one that we go on, by the way. Our next game after that is going to be against the LA Lakers. We have versed the LA Lakers, and we have beaten the LA Lakers before. We've beaten the Lakers at their healthiest, I believe. I think a couple of guys might have been out, but they were a fairly healthy LA team. LA's not playing well right now. So it's an opportunity for the Bulls, or it could be an opportunity for the Lakers to really kickstart their season and start winning some games heading into a very important time. I'm not sure. We versed them at home. We beat them at home. LA seems to be a team that plays better at home for the most part. We'll see if we could get the job done away. We normally play well against the Lakers, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, the last game is against Portland, but that's going to be for next week. What do you guys think? I'm going to pick a 1-on-1. I think that's only fair. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.